Welcome back to the Big Three, the only three, the Deep 3 NBA show. I'm your host, Miguel Fernandez, and I'm here alongside Nicholas Lujan as always.
What's up, my people? We back at it again. Start the beginning. NBA show Monday. What's up?
Start
We
of the
almost.
week.
Shit. It's playoff time. I think it's already playoff time.
We're
So
getting
this is
towards
the
the
most
end of
important part of
the
the season.
it's the back end of the season. Teams are starting to solidify themselves in their standings. We see the Suns pretty much already got the first seed on lock.
Yeah,
The
that's
Heat in the Eastern Conference, they got about three game lead ahead of the second place. The rest of the Eastern Conference still fighting for that. The Brooklyn Nets fighting for the play-in right now. We see Cleveland's dropping. We got Boston rising. Philly, Milwaukee, the 2 and 3. So it's a lot of stuff to watch out for, definitely.
yes, sir.
But yeah,
For sure.
we go we're gonna finish what we started last episode, doing Eastern Conference X Factors this tool today. But we're gonna jump straight into the recent performances. What happened this past weekend? We saw LeBron go for I think 56 against the Golden State Warriors in a win.
56. So,
Just
yeah,
a legendary performance for him, especially at this age. That's we just don't see players doing stuff like that at the age of 37. In a win too, because this is a Lakers team that's been struggling. But they came out there, they called a dub against the Golden State Warriors. Russ had a good game. Malik Monk he's had some crazy dunks this season.
crazy dunks. He's been playing good. He just don't.
He has.
He has to get the ball way more. But to touch up on LeBron is like wow, just 37, like you said, and just what he's doing. I mean, the numbers he's putting up is just like it's like his team is just not there to help him, but he's playing at a ridiculous talent right now. Like for his age, just him slowing down the game. It looks like he's more of a shooter now too. Like the last 2 seasons, we've been seeing him shoot the ball way more, like 6 to 8 attempts per game. And I mean, I think this just shows how important Draymond Green is for the Warriors. It just shows how important he is because you just lost to a bad Lakers team, right? And they have been on a bad run at least for this last past week. I mean, obviously since Draymond they've been 15-15, but it's still, you know what I'm saying. This last couple week it's just been rough for them. They lost against the Mavs twice. They lose against the Lakers. You know what I'm saying, games they shouldn't be losing, but Draymond definitely is gonna have to come back if they want to win that championship because they literally. I mean, LeBron obviously Andrew Wiggins out there, but they need somebody else out there helping them and just leadership. That's what I really think it is leadership and just talking to them, always having someone in their ears telling them where to go, just a vet, just you know what I'm saying, helping them, guiding them on the court. And obviously he's a big factor for the Warriors.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely miss him a lot out there. And we've seen it. Andrew Wiggins, his play has been starting to to reach, like, it's starting to go down a little bit throughout the season. His play hasn't picked up. And we see that they just really miss Draymond Green. Like, the record with him not on the court is it's something to take note of, because we have seen we have gotten some news about his comeback. I think it's 1 to 2 weeks. They said that he should be returning, so he's gonna be back for the playoff start. That's good. He's gonna have at least 2 more weeks to just get back into game shape and get into rhythm again before the
I think he
season
should be
ends.
fine. I don't think he played halfway through the season already. I think in game shape is shouldn't be a problem. Maybe it should be a
I
little
think
like
but you need at least 1 or 2 games just to get back into speed, though.
yeah, but that's enough time. That's enough time. And like I was saying the whole time, they weren't rushing him. Their point of them it was not to rush him. You know what I'm saying? The reason why he's coming back a week or two right before the playoffs. I mean, 1 or 2 more weeks. I mean, we got like a month left. That's half a month. 2 weeks is technically half a month. So he will have technically half a month to get back in shape, which should be perfect for him. He played 40 something games. He's already playing like 40 something minutes. So I mean, he's an athlete too. He take care of his body. You know what I'm saying? Even though we see him every time on a person, you know what I'm saying, analyze. He does analyst. That's his job too now. He does podcasting. He's been looking. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't look like a Zion over there who don't give a fuck about his body, but he's an athlete. You know what I'm saying? He's a great player. I think they should be fine with him coming back.
saw the return of another superstar. Well, a superstar. I'm not gonna say another. That's not Draymond. But we've seen Kevin Durant come back this week, and he had his first game against the Miami Heat on Thursday, I believe. Dropped 31 in his
He
first
had a
game
great
back.
game, yeah.
It came in a loss. Then he had another good game against the Celtics and another loss. Like, I think is it time to hit the panic button? Like, how do you feel about the Brooklyn Nets at this moment?
For sure, for sure. I mean, if I'm Taha, I would definitely be disappointed. I would be worried about my team. Reason why, we still gotta fight for the play-in. Right? Obviously, it's close. You don't know what could happen. Kyrie,
Their next game is a must win. They play against the Hornets, who they're tied with right now for the ninth seed. That's a must win.
yeah, they gotta win. And I mean, Kyrie they just played the first game Kyrie KD together this season, and
Not
Kyrie
this
and
season. They played
yeah,
together before.
not this
I
season.
watched the game when they played against the Trailblazers and they lost. And they both played against the Spurs, I believe. I watched them play together. It's their first game playing together in like a month or two, but they've played together this season.
But it's not a lot though. You're
Yeah,
naming
it's
two
not.
or three. It's not a lot.
But
But
I'm
he
just saying it
still
wasn't the
hasn't
first
showed
time they
out.
played. Yeah,
He still hasn't showed out any of the games either. He's been holding them back too. Boston, it was a really good game. Boston, they were in control the whole game, even though Brooklyn was still like fighting. It's because KD kept them alive, just when they were making little runs, and Boston was able to hold them down, and they were able to expose their defense. Just saying, switching the guards, it just shows. Obviously, KD just came back from an injury. You don't want him to be like, I want JT the whole game. But like, I mean, if he wants to win without Ben Simmons either, he's not even back. He's not. We don't even know when he's coming back either. So like, he's gonna have to take a bigger role for this team if he wants to win offensively, defensively, like everywhere. He's gonna have to take a different role, a different approach now with James Harden out of the lineup. Two is obviously a different. They're gonna need someone to play make, and that's gonna be Kyrie's job because you're not gonna have a scorer trying to play make or running everything through him and try to assist. Obviously, he's a great player, but it's gonna it's gonna it's gonna be a problem for the Nets. And like you said, they need to win their next couple of games. I mean, they're fighting for the play-in, so they're in a
especially
tough
the next
spot.
game playing against the Hornets, who are just like they're competing with them for that play-in spot. So that's right there. That's a game they need to win. But I think coming like I watched both the games, the Heat game and the Nets game, and it just showed holes in their defense from both sides. Like from for example for the Heat game, Bam Adebayo was just torching Drummond and LaMarcus Aldridge the entire game pretty much. He was putting them in the ISO. He was breaking them down over and over again, putting them in the pick and roll. We've seen him catch multiple lobs over Andre Drummond. Marcus Aldridge wasn't fast enough to keep up with him. And then we seen in the next game against the Celtics, it was just the complete opposite with their guards just getting attacked time in and time again. You seen this is one a lot of this was on Steve Nash though, I think in the Celtics game, because you have to call a timeout when it's Jason Tatum's with 48, 49 points, and you have Kyrie Irving and Seth Curry constantly getting switched on and getting attacked nonstop. The whole fourth quarter was Kyrie and Seth Curry getting switched on to Jason Tatum and them just not having enough juice or strength, length, nothing to keep up with him.
For sure, I agree. I agree. It's definitely Steve Nash got to do better on those situations like that. I mean, they were always between 10 points. Like 10 points is really
It
not a
was a
big
close
deal.
game the whole way
Yeah, the
through.
whole
It was
game. Yeah,
definitely a winnable.
it
Both of
was
the
just
games were
Boston was
definitely
in
winnable.
control of the whole game. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Even though there was still like close game, it still shows that saying Boston could just expose them because all they had to do is just switch onto the two guards. And then once the guard helped up or they doubled, what happened? Jalen Brown was open, like you seen on the last play, and boom, they had a wide open shot to clutch the game, which was an easy possession. It was just posting up Jason Tatum, kick it back out, Marcus Smart, extra pass. They run him off the three. Boom, open shot for Jalen Brown. Boston. When you have shooters all around the court, usually Brooklyn struggles. You know what I'm saying? Usually, Brooklyn struggles. Like you said, Miami got exposed also by Bam, and that shows that they got no rebounding. Right? Obviously, Drummond is a great rebounder, but not one
But
guy's
I
gonna
think
come
he's
in
a
there and pick up every single rebound.
for his career, he's a great individual rebounder, but I think there's more. There's more like a good rebounding team. For example, Philly, their whole thing this season is they haven't been a good rebounding team. Joel's a great rebounder, but overall, it takes a whole team to be a good rebounding team. It takes
Exactly.
multiple guys boxing out, multiple guys crashing. But it was just Andre Drummond doing that, and they got killed on the boards against the Celtics too. I feel like Robert
Exactly.
Williams got them a lot of second chance points. Peyton Pritchard too. It was one possession he got like 2 or 3 offensive
Yeah.
rebounds.
Yeah, I remember that. I watched the whole game. Yeah, like it was just I'm saying they have the big men coming in to help off because obviously they can't. When they run them off the three, they saying they get chances inside, and that's when the center comes in and has to come and try to block it. But then once you get him out the perimeter, I mean, once you get him out the interior to rebound and have him as a shot blocker, he has no. What do you expect him to block? I mean, defend and block, rebound. It's like it's impossible. They've been struggling all season with that, and I think saying in a half court playoff situation, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna saying if you're giving up too many second chance points, you're just giving the other team more opportunity to just put more points on the board. So definitely, I mean. They have holes everywhere. They just got to be better overall as a team, more efforts, more than anything.
Yeah, they have. There's definitely they have some stuff they have to work, especially come playoff time. I don't know. It's hard for me to look at this team and think that they're gonna even make a run.
And
Honestly,
and then look, right, look now. What was the situation when James Harden was there? You had so many ball handlers, right? It wasn't really a problem, but now it's kind of a problem. Look, Steph Curry. Now Steph Curry's on the team, right? He's another guy that's gonna need the ball in his hand. And last night is a good example. He shot 100% if I'm not mistaken, or near 100%. I don't think he missed a shot, but he only took like 3-4 shots.
yeah, he didn't get a lot of shots
Yeah,
yesterday.
and he only had 8 points. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying you just gotta keep going through him. You know what I'm saying? If you got a high hand, just keep going through, and that's gonna be a problem because you have so many ball handlers. The offense just gotta be better overall. Just more unselfishness.
Yeah,
I think surprisingly, Goran's just been so good. I like him. I mean, he's been a good fit over there. And the crazy thing that he looks in game shape ready too. Like he's been playing like what 30 minutes. He's like playing clutch moments for the.
he's been giving them
He's been
solid
clutch.
minutes too.
Yeah,
He has been.
he's been really good for them. Surprisingly, like. But you know what I'm saying? That's not what they need, though. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Why would they go on a free agency and try to pick up
Yeah, because
another
if you
guard? Because
yeah
you
you
have
look
Patty
at their
Mills, you have a bunch
lineups.
of guards.
Yeah, exactly. You look at their lineups. They were playing a lot of three guards, and it was just like I just don't get it. Like
But
at the Heat game, the game against Miami, they went and they did. It was Goran Dragic, Patty Mills, Seth Curry, and Bruce Brown. I'm like, whoa, like 4 guards. Like they're just like it's just too small.
yeah, but Bruce Brown's been good. I don't know how
He's
if
been
you have
playing
seen.
great these last
He's
two
shooting
months,
47% from the 3 point line. The last, like
couple of weeks.
the last I think 2-3 weeks. Yeah,
He's
like
their
that's ridiculous. 47%. He's been good.
he's one of the only
Obviously,
guys on that team.
last night he had a decent game. He was missing wide open shots. There was a couple of shots that he missed, but I mean, he's decent. You know what I'm saying? He's been in the lineup. He's been good. He's a guy that you're gonna have to run him a lot more. And he got height and length, so I understand why he's in lineup. But then, why run Goran? You said Goran, Seth Curry, just bunch of guys that could just get. They got exposed last night when Jason Tatum was just attacking. He went for 56 points,
Yeah,
54.
it's a lot of liabilities out there on the defensive end. But one more thing about Bruce Brown, to me, he's like the only guy out there playing with urgency right now. Like he knows the situation they're in. And he's like the only one that's really out there diving for loose balls, rebounding the shit out the rock, going for every 50-50 ball. Like he's trying to like he's the only one that's really trying to like win these games.
Yeah, for
I feel
sure.
like it's just too much ISO ball, like you said. But
Yeah, I mean that's what it is now. Cause think about it, Kyrie was in his career. You know what I'm trying to say?
yeah.
So now, you know what I'm saying? James Harden is an actual true playmaker. Like he really is. Like a guy that average around 9 to 10. You know what I'm saying? Assists. You know what I'm saying? Now it's you play half of the season with him, and now you have to run a whole different type of offense, and it's like he's not that guy playmaking wise. He's a scorer. I'll give you that. He's a scorer who'll give you a bucket,
Yeah, they're
but
two
that's not what they
completely
need for
different
Bron.
kinds of players.
Yeah,
Like
so it's
Harden
gonna be
is
hard
a
for them. It's gonna be hard for the Nets to get back into a rhythm, or and then it's gonna be tougher now, especially you got 15 more games, right? Then you gotta then if you do make it to the play-in, is you're gonna struggle on the playoffs because is that enough time for everybody to be on the same page? I doubt it. I honestly doubt it.
and Kyrie can only play 6 of the remaining games.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's gonna be tough. They need to put together some wins because they're on the brink of not making the playoffs.
For
So they
sure.
definitely have to put some wins up. But tonight we're gonna see the return of Victor Oladipo for the Miami Heat. I just want to ask you, what are your expectations? Where do you see his role in with this team moving forward? And what do you think he brings to this team most of anything else?
Most of the thing, I think mostly what he's gonna bring. Obviously, we're gonna get defensive. Like he's a great defender for his size. He's a great defender. He locks in. I think that's what you're gonna get for him most importantly, and that's the way Miami plays ball, man. Just defensively, and then whatever comes off of defense, they make their offense stop it, and that's the reason why they're the best shooting team in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Number one shooting team at 37%, right? And he's a great shooter. You know what I'm saying? He's a great shooter. So if they try to run him off the three, I mean, if you're saying they try to like force him to shoot threes, hey, you do not want to leave him wide open. And then if you try to run him off the three, he could score. He was at one point one of the clutchest players with the Pacers. He led a whole season of him just clutching the whole season. So he got the clutch genes. You know what I'm saying? Even when he was you're saying Miami, he had that one good game and then he gets injured. We were
Yeah,
starting to see him. You know what I'm saying? Get comfortable. But I think he's in a great system. He's been around the team all year, you know what I'm saying, traveling with them. So I think the chemistry is there. I think, you know what I'm saying, Jimmy's unselfish. And Jimmy's been playing more of a playmaker role the last couple of weeks. If you notice, his
yeah, with no
numbers
Kyle
haven't
Lowry.
been, yeah, his numbers haven't been high. So what does that ask for Victor Oladipo? Go do you, go score, go get a bucket, and that's what you're gonna get from him, I think. And it's a very good pickup, especially this time around this time is like important because he has enough games. I think 18 or 15 games is enough for a player, you know, what I'm saying, to get in shape, in game shape, or have a little bit of rhythm. I mean, it's been a while though that he's been out, but I'm very excited of him coming back. You know, I'm a big fan of Victor Oladipo even before the
That's like
trade.
everybody is. Like I don't know how people can hate this guy. No cap.
Yeah, he's a great. I love his style of basketball. So now, yeah, the Heat should be looking a little bit more scary, especially with him. I think him being in the starting lineup, I think it should be the way to go with it. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know what I'm saying, he is going to be on minute restrictions anyways, right? He probably will be,
Yeah, they
if
haven't
I'm
seen
not
nothing yet, but I,
mistaken.
I would I would expect the first 5, maybe 6 games, like maybe like 20 minutes, maybe 25 max. But I wouldn't see him playing more than 25 minutes, especially tonight.
Yeah,
I don't know how many he's gonna play.
5 minute a quarter, like how they usually do
Like
with,
5 minute
these
bursts
type
and
of games.
shit.
Yeah, and then you want him to play the. I mean, if you know what I'm saying? You want to ramp him up and give him that confidence. I mean, it would be important to run him in the starting lineup, and I think you should run him in the starting lineup and have him closing out games, because you want defense. He's gonna give you defense. You know what I'm saying? And he always been a confidence guy. You know what I'm saying? And I think he will end up closing out games with you guys. I mean, honestly, like, what's the starting lineup for you guys right now?
The starting lineup has been Lowry, Jimmy, Duncan, PJ, and Bam.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily take out a Duncan, make Jimmy play the three and Oladipo the two, and then, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
just a
that's a
5,
great
a
that's a
deadly
great
defensive lineup.
yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be tough for a lot of teams to even switch, because they'll be able to literally switch everything if they have Oladipo. Because I'm not saying Duncan Robinson is the worst defender, but he's obviously the
He's the
weakest one,
weakest.
and he's
Yeah, he's
the
the weakest
yeah
link on the
the
team.
weakest
Well, the
one,
weakest link in
and
that
he's gonna
starting
be the
five.
he's gonna be
Yeah,
the guy that's gonna get attacked. So, um, for sure. I mean,
I would be
it's great though. It's
surprised.
a great ad
I would
for
be
sure.
surprised if he's on the starting lineup. Maybe tonight because Lowry's still out with personal reasons. He has family things going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do put him tonight. But Gabe Vince has been playing so great in the starting lineup. So I would be surprised if they take him out. But yeah, I think I'm excited to see his. I want to see how much burst he has off the dribble. Like how much can he get to the rim? Because he's just adding another playmaker to that roster as well. Like he's been a guy who's averaged 5 assists in a season. Like he is a great playmaker, especially for his position. The defense, I think, is still going to be there. He just has a knack for getting to loose balls and when know to reach in, know when to reach in, playing the passing lanes. Like he's going to be great at that. I'm just excited to, because you can't go wrong with adding a two-way player to your roster.
For
Like
sure.
that's in the playoffs. Those are what you need. You need guys who could play, who could survive on both ends of the court. And last season with the Houston Rockets, he shot, I think it was 38 or 39% on catch and shoot threes. So if he could come in and like replicate that, like that's all they're really asking for. You could give them a solid 12, like 3-3, or a 12, 4-5, like something like that. I'm not expecting to come in and average 18 points a game, but by next season, if he's still there, I think he should be close to Victor Oladipo. Because this is the most he's gone to just rest.
Yeah.
Because the main thing is we've been hearing this for a while. Like they're not rushed. They didn't rush him whatsoever. If the situation was different, if they were maybe in the 6th seed instead of the 1 seed, I think he would have came back a couple weeks ago. But there was no need to rush him back. Let him get to 100% and really be healthy and see what he could do.
For sure. I mean, you guys were already playing good defensively. You guys had a great roster. Like you guys made a great roster. Well, you guys had a bunch of young guys coming out playing good. Gabe Vincent just been so huge for y'all. Too, you know what I'm saying? He's been
That's the
huge.
problem
So
too. Whose spot is he taking in the rotation?
that is a problem because I think I'm gonna be honest with you. Like even though Duncan Robinson is such a great shooter, I don't know. Gabe Vincent is just so good, man. Defensively switch, and he does. He's gonna give you the same thing, Duncan. I've been seeing that at the greatest rate that he does, but he's still
Yeah,
over. He's still
yeah.
gonna give you a 30. He could still. He's a guy that shoots 35. Like he's a great shooter.
He's at
He's a
38 or
great shooter.
39% right now this season. Yeah,
Exactly. So
he's been one of the better backup point guards in the NBA this season.
and you know what happens you know what happens in the playoffs. Teams it's all about strategies. They're gonna go to your weakest link.
Yeah.
And Gabe Vincent is not a weak link. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's took every matchup so far, you know what I'm saying? So he has what, 20, 25 starts in the NBA with you guys, if I'm not
Yeah, I
mistaken.
think this season, I think he's at like 18 starts, I believe. And he's averaging 18 points a game in the starting
Yeah,
lineup. So yeah,
because
he's definitely been.
yeah. So I think personally, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they take out Duncan off or give him way more less minutes because they're gonna attack him. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna get attacked on defense and stuff. And Gabe Vincent been so good. If anything, that's the guy. Max Strus been another guy that minutes been
I think he
down.
takes Max Strus minutes.
Yeah,
I
Max
think they
Strus
both
minutes.
suck.
Nah,
We will welcome in Taha Streak to the program.
they
What's
better
good?
than
What's good?
what's up? What's up? They
What's
better
going
know
on,
the
man?
whole Brooklyn team backup your
I
bench.
hope
I'll
you
tell you
guys.
that.
I hope you guys saved the Nets talk
We
till I
literally
joined.
Nah,
just finished Nets talk.
we low key.
We were talking about Oladipo's returns and his expectations. But you could
That's
just go
tonight,
on like
right?
a 3. Yeah. I want you to give your expectations on that, and after that, I want you to tell us how you feel about Brooklyn's loss to these last 2 games with KD in the lineup. But what are your expectations for Oladipo? What do you think he brings to the Heat, and like what do you think he's gonna do?
I think he brings pure scoring. I think he brings intensity off the bench if they bring him off the bench. I would probably bring him off the bench. I think it's better to have Duncan in the starting lineup.
Me too.
I don't think he's gonna be coming in here and looking like Indiana Victor Oladipo. I think it's just not the same situation. That's not what they need out of him. I think he could come in and still give you like a good 15 or 16 like off the bench and still be a quality player. But I don't think he's going to be putting up no all-star numbers. It's definitely possible, but that would mean that some players would have to give up some shots during the game.
I
And
would be surprised.
since he's a shooting guard, it would probably end up being Tyler Hero, Duncan, maybe even Kyle Lowry a little bit, maybe even Jimmy Butler a little bit. But he's gonna take some shots from some players. Like that's just something that's gonna happen. So there's pros and cons to it, but I think it brings more good than bad.
For sure, I'm excited to see his return.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Like like Taha was just saying, like he's gonna bring in scoring, but I think like his defense is gonna be the main factor here because they've been so good.
Mhm.
Like you said, he has
Yeah,
a different.
that's their identity. That's their bread and butter.
That's yeah, like you said, he has a different role. I think you should start him, but I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, you could start him. You could start Duncan Robinson and run him with the second unit with Tyler Hero and just make them like just straight scorers, and then that second unit would be crazy. Honestly.
Yeah, they're gonna
Mhm.
be running
It'd
second
be
unit
If
off
crazy
you
the
either
think
floor.
way.
about it, if you think about it, but I think no matter what, he still got to close out the lineup. Like he closes out
Oh
games.
yeah.
I think
Closing
Duncan,
games.
I, yeah, he has to close out games for you guys. Just because he's gonna add defense. Like think about it. Like like we said, Duncan's in the lineup. You're not gonna close out him because he's a weak link. Now you move Jimmy to the three and you move him to the two. That's just straight bad defensive night. I mean, it's gonna be crazy ass
Yeah, it's gonna
defensive
be.
switches everywhere. Like it's
I
gonna be
feel like
tough
you
for
need a
teams
shooter. You need
to.
a sharpshooter though to close the game. You need a sharpshooter on the
But
floor.
he is that guy though. He has been a
You
great
you
shooter.
think he could be that
Miguel
guy?
just
Now
said,
he's a good shooter, but
yeah. He, Miguel was just saying that he was shooting in Indiana 39%
No,
and
on
catching
Houston, yeah, in Houston, he
in
shot
Houston,
39% on catch and shoot threes
and
on
he's
mm,
like
been a
4 attempts
shooter.
a game.
Yeah, he's been a shooter, and he right before Miami, he went down. He wasn't. It wasn't like he was scoring off of him creating shots and stuff like that. It was more of like you know, saying, leaving him open, wide open shots, him getting wide open shots. So, I think
I
it's
don't
gonna
think
be
he
really good
starts
for him.
though, but I do think he's gonna be like he still should get at least 25 minutes a game in the playoffs, maybe 30. And like you said, like, he should get minutes burned down in crunch time. If he's having a hot night, I wouldn't be mad if he does close out games.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because you could
overall
also.
he'll end up getting more minutes than Duncan
For
in the
sure.
game.
Duncan's getting like 15, 20 minutes in the playoffs. He's gonna
Yeah.
start, but I don't think he's not gonna be finishing. Like his minutes are
Hmm.
already going down.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
needs to be in those lineups with Jimmy and Bam just because you need that spacing. And the
Hmm.
gravity he provides is just like it's still one of the best in the NBA at that.
Hmm.
The way you
And
guys collapse at him.
I wouldn't be upset if we went to him to close out games either. To be honest,
For
we
sure.
seen it. We seen it with Pacers. And when he went to Houston, he had a couple games when they went to him towards the end of the game too. Like that's in his gene. He took over one whole year. He was the clutchest player right before his injury, before he got traded to Houston, and Miami. So that's in his gene. Like I wouldn't be upset with that either. So for
Taha,
sure.
before we get to the X factors, what are your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets and are you pressing the panic button?
Um. Well, define panic button. Like, is panic button trying to like
Are the
you can't
Nets
because
a
you can't
first round
tank.
exit?
Not tank. You
Um,
guys should be worried.
are they a first round exit? It depends on who they play. I think if we end up moving into like the fifth spot, because we still have
Bro,
Fifth
enough.
that is
spot.
not happening, bro.
Do you know how
No,
far you get?
I'm just telling you though. Like I'm saying, like if we
Oh,
end up avoiding it, because there's like 11, 12 games left, and we're 11, 12 games out the first seed, so that means we're like 5 or 4 games out the fifth seed. So if we were to end up avoiding the play-in and playing Chicago, we're beating Chicago. If we end up playing Philly, I think Philly might have us, depending on if how Ben Simmons plays against them.
But
Um,
come on, all right, you can finish. I'll say something on that.
um, I think Milwaukee got us, and I think Miami might have us too. But I could see us beating Miami. But I think Miami and Milwaukee, that's a bad match for us. Philly, I would avoid. Um, Out of the top teams in the East, I would definitely want to face Chicago. But
I
if
think
we're in the
that's
play-in,
everybody's choice.
yeah, if we get into the play-in though, like I think we're still gonna make the playoffs. Like I think we're better than all the playing teams when
If
when we're healthy.
so right
So look,
now you guys are tied for the 10 seed. The
yeah,
10 and 9, you guys are tied for that.
Yeah.
and for you guys to even make it out of the play, you guys are down by 5 games, literally, 5 games, because Cleveland's down 5.5. Then it'll be like Miguel said,
Yeah, they're down five
Brooklyn
and a
and
half games
Atlanta.
from the 6th seed.
Yeah, so it'll be tough. It'll be actually it's tough. I think like you said, you guys probably are the best team other than Toronto. Toronto could give you a good matchup, but there's only 2 teams make it. I doubted you guys even play them. How? Wait, how would it work?
So
It's
if it
seven
ended
and
right
10,
now,
8 and 9, right?
no, if it ended right now, 7-8 will play. The winner of that game makes the 7th seed, and then the 8th seed will play the winner of the 10-9 for the 8th seed. So
But
right now will be Brooklyn versus Atlanta for the 8th seed. Then they play the loser of Toronto Charlotte for the 8th seed.
See, I think we could beat all those teams.
And you guys
Atlanta's
are definitely have the
tough.
most talent. No, Atlanta's ass. They have the most talent. They should make the playoffs.
But you gotta look at them. You gotta look at what Brooklyn struggle in. They struggle on rebounding, defense. Like you're gonna have Trey Young out there on screens. You got Clint Capella gonna out rebound. They're a great rebounding team with John Collins.
Nah, I
in the lineup.
don't think we've been that bad in rebounding lately. Like I've been
You guys
watching.
been bad. Yeah, last 2 games you guys got dominated rebound. And those
Yeah,
are
but
good.
see, that's the coaching. Andre Drummond should not be playing 19 minutes. He should be playing 30 minutes a night.
But he was getting
Like, he's-
exposed though.
But
Like he played bad against Miami and he played bad against Boston.
He
It's
played
just gonna be a
all right.
tough.
He played all right against Boston. In 19 minutes, I think he had like 7 points, 9 rebounds. Like that's solid. But if you give him 30 minutes, he'll give you like a double-double.
yeah, but the thing is that his defense doesn't mean you just got nobody else to like make up for that defense. Cause look, he's in the lineup when he comes in. It's him. It's Seth, right? Seth is usually a lot of minutes with him because they played in Philly. They run a lot of him. You got a bunch of guards. Goran's been playing big minutes a lot too. And then you guys are running with 3 guards. Pretty much
I think
Bruce
he
Brown
made
is
us
in the
worse.
lineup too.
I think Goran
Goran?
made us worse. Yeah.
He's been
Bro,
good.
I don't think you can blame
Been
him
good.
right now. Like if you look at this is a crazy stat. Last 20 games, the Nets are 3-17.
That's ridiculous. Like, nah, but the reason why I say that about Goran is because I was watching that game yesterday, bro, and Goran, this dude Jaylen Brown was just having his way with him. Like,
Yeah, that's he's not a good defender. That's the problem.
that's what I'm saying. Like, we need defense, and you go ahead and sign a 35-year-old that's not gonna play defense. Like, I don't know. I don't get it, bro. I think the main thing is Steve Nash needs to take like a anti-Viagra and control that hard on that he's got for James Johnson, because James Johnson should not be playing 20 plus minutes a night. He shouldn't be playing 20 plus minutes a night on the worst team in the league.
Oh my
They got
god!
him.
Stop disrespecting my boy JJ, bro. He's the best defender on the Nets right now.
Oh my god! But he brings nothing else. It's to the point where his defense isn't good enough to be able to make up for the shitty offense that he has.
I understand that, but Taha, what do you? So did you watch the Celtics game last night? Oh, yesterday in the afternoon. Why did you what was the reason why you guys lost that game?
We lost the game because number one, KD wasn't guarding Jason Tatum. It was other players that were guarding. They had Seth Curry on Jason Tatum.
And Kyrie Irving just getting torched by
yes.
Tatum. That's
what I'm saying.
exactly.
Like,
so that's why you need James Johnson in there.
He wasn't doing shit neither, though.
Nah,
it was just one of those nights. It was just one of those nights where he was already hot and nobody was stopping him. But Steve Nash needs to figure shit out, bro. Because our coaching and I thought the assistant coaches can make up for it, but I didn't realize how important Mike D'Antoni was last year because, bro, like Jacques Vaughn did not coach well in those 2 games where Steve Nash was in protocols.
Yeah, for sure.
The Miami game was bad.
Yeah, they blew an 18-point lead early.
Yeah, like it was ridiculous, bro. Like I don't know what we got to do. Like Sean Marks is ruining his only opportunity. He's done such a good job over the past 5-6 years building this team, and he's ruining it just because of the coaching staff, bro.
I think it's a bad roster construction.
For me,
it's too many one-way players on a team. Like Kyrie Irving, he was getting torched against the Celtics yesterday. Like they were literally picking him out, getting screens, and having him switch on to the ball handler. Him and Seth Curry. And then the same thing with Goran Dragic. Yeah, like that was. But the Celtics, I think, are a bad matchup for him because of how much length they have and how big that lineup is. That is a bad matchup for Kyrie Irving because they are a great defensive team. So they're gonna be able to have guys they're gonna have multiple guys that throw at Kyrie Irving, especially if he breaks one down. They're the type of team that the next one's gonna help up.
For sure.
They have a great defensive system.
Like, one thing I wanted to add to what Taha said, like, what can they do? I think the problem right now is you guys are trying to make Kyrie a playmaker. He's not a playmaker, and that's that biggest problem because you guys played a whole year with James Harden in the lineup, a whole different system, offensive system, and he's a playmaker. You cannot deny that James Harden is a playmaker. He's a guy that averages 9 to 10 assists, and now that he's out the lineup, so you got to run a whole different type of offense now, and you're gonna need Kyrie to take a different role. I think the biggest thing is KD has to take a different role, offensively, defensively. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna have to wake up and take up those tough matchups. Like last night was a great example. JT going off. He should have had. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he just came back from an injury. You don't want him to
I
come
don't care,
back.
but KD should have been guarding him, bro.
But
no cap.
If
That
KD
it made no sense, bro.
Yeah, KD should have called. KD should have took. You know, what I'm saying, said something.
Took the
Like
assignment.
I want him. Yes, like I want him, but I think it's gonna be tough. I mean, you guys, like you said, we got 12 to 15 games left. You guys need to win like at least half of those. I have more than half of those.
Yeah, you need
more
to
than
go
half.
But let me tell you something though. Here's why I'm not too concerned. So every team, like in recent years, with the way the world's going on and everything, every team in the past like 5 years that has been like a contender has had that one season where things just aren't clicking. Like last season, it was like that for Miami. The season before, it was like that for Philly. Like, you get what I'm saying? I think this is that season for us.
But what does that mean?
I feel the same way. Like, if you have to wait, it's just not your year. You gotta wait till next year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we also gotta think in reality too. There's struggles in your team. There's holes. Rebounding is a problem. Defensively is a problem. Offensively is too much ISO. Last night you got Steph Curry that was shooting pretty well, but you guys didn't go to him because Kyrie's on the court. You got too many ball handlers. Goran on the court. There's just so many ball handlers. There's a lot of holes. And if you think of rebounding, defensively, half court offense, those are one of the three main things to win in a playoff game. It's gonna be tough. And Ben Simmons, what is he gonna add to? He can't even dunk right now. You know what I'm saying? Defense, he's gonna be there, but he's not gonna go in there. He's not gonna go in there and make a big difference if that's what you guys.
I think he will. Like, I think if Ben Simmons would have been playing that game against Boston, then he would have definitely neutralized Tatum, and it would have caused KD and them to focus more on the offense rather than the defense and just keep getting torched. I think Ben Simmons will make
this is the problem with, like, I agree with you saying that Ben Simmons would have helped, but the whole system, like, you have to break it down like schematics wise. The Brooklyn Nets, they play a switch everything defense, and that's exactly why Kyrie and Seth Curry kept getting put onto Tatum, because they were picking him out. You set off ball screens, and you get that's when the switch happens, and as soon as he sees Kyrie or Seth Curry was guarding him, that's when he called for the ball. So I think they have to just go into the offseason and just work things around. Like, they have to just switch it up. Like, you've seen it with Philly. Their problem last year is they didn't have enough shooting. They added more shooters this season. They added a all-time great level player in James Harden. Miami had their issues as well. They pretty much switched around the entire team besides the core 4 players. And we've seen it with, not last season, but the season prior with Milwaukee after they lost to Miami. They came into the next season with almost a completely different roster as well. Adding a Bobby Portis, adding a Drew Holiday, adding a PJ Tucker. Like, you have to now it's time for them to make the next move. Because obviously this build right now it's not working. It's not
working. Here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think in this offseason, Blake Griffin's gone.
Retiring.
No, I don't think he's going to retire. I just think he's going to go somewhere. I think he's going to do what DeAndre Jordan did. Like, he's going to go somewhere else in search of like a bigger role. I think Blake Griffin's gone, unless Steve Nash gets fired and they promise Blake more minutes. Joe Harris is gone. It's just he's not playing another game in the Nets uniform. Like, the man is getting paid $19-20 million and just robbing us and putting us in luxury tax. I think they're going to pursue a trade to get another quality player, like somebody that because 19, 20 million, you could get like a borderline all-star type player.
Yeah,
with that.
that's good. That's good money. That's you can make.
But like,
you can
you
make
got-
that.
Exactly.
but what are they
So-
getting with that, with
but
Joe
the
Harris
team-
contract?
Yeah,
though?
that's the thing. What are you that he got paid too much money? He's in
So
the same
is
situation
Cam
that-
Thomas out too? 'Cause
No,
if you're-
I think.
Uh,
But
I
how
think
are you
Cam
going to
Thomas-
trade Joe Harris's contract and get a valuable player? in
yeah,
return?
that's the thing.
But
I think he's in the
come
same
on, bro.
situation as
Joe
Horford.
Harris. But Joe Harris is like he's like one of the best shooters in the league.
Okay, but Ty, he's getting paid like an absurd amount of money.
I understand that, but if we have other pieces to put with him, though, like we still have those picks that Philly gave us. We still have some of the pick swaps from Houston from the Harden trade. Like we got stuff to move around.
I get you guys have trade pieces, but you're making it seem like you guys are going to trade Joe Harris for like an all-star caliber player.
No, I'm saying like anything could happen in the league. Like we fleeced teams before, and every team has
so you're
a
saying
feeder
like
team.
a Harrison Barnes level player?
Yeah, something like that. Like every team has a feeder team. You already know this. Every contending team has a feeder team. Our feeder team's Detroit. I wouldn't rule out us trying to go after Jeremy Grant. I wouldn't rule us out going after like another big man. Somebody like that, like a defensive small forward / power forward. Somebody.
Let me ask you a question. I want to move on because we don't got much. I want to get it going into the X Factors. We don't got much time.
Yeah.
But would you do this deal, Joe Harris and Cam Thomas, and a first-round pick, protected first-round pick for Jeremy Grant?
No. You got to get Cam Thomas out of it. Cam Thomas needs to be on our team for the foreseeable future. The man is 20 years old, and he's playing out of his mind.
Playing out of his mind?
With the amount of minutes that he gets, and how young he is.
Yeah, I understand why you wouldn't want to trade. I understand completely why. Like, he's a rookie. You don't even know what he's going to be yet.
That's
but
what I'm saying.
If it's a win-now team, and you need to make a win-now move, I see no reason why you wouldn't let go of him for a guy like Jeremy Grant, who would help this team like a lot.
But see,
like
here's
he's like the
difference,
perfect fit for this team.
Here's the difference, though. Cam Thomas is playing his role well. Like, if he was still developing, like, slowly, I would understand. Like, but he's actually giving you quality minutes. Like, he's giving you good performances. That game against, what was it, the Knicks, where he hit that crazy ass shot at the end? Like, games like that is why we should keep him. Because it's like the same thing. It was different with Karis LeVert and all those players. The only person that it kind of hurt was Jared Allen because you knew what he was about to become. But Karis LeVert, it was like, yeah, he's good, but can he do this elsewhere? Same thing with Spencer Dinwiddie. He's good, but can he do this elsewhere? Same thing with D'Angelo Russell. With that young core, it was different. Like, we knew that they were good here, but can they be good elsewhere? Can they
that
be
was the only problem was it was a good building block. But if you guys got to keep all those guys and added Kevin Durant, that would have been completely different. Like, you had a great young core, but nobody on that young core was like, all right, this can be the guy that takes us to the next level.
We saw how that looked. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving played with that young core, and they went like 11-9 to start the season. Then they made the Harden trade.
Yeah,
that's what happened. Like, but here's the thing though, Cam Thomas is not like Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and D'Angelo Russell. He's more like Jared Allen, where it's like, that he's going to become a threat if you get rid of him. And he's also going to help you and be that same exact threat if you keep him. Whereas for the other three, it was like, yeah, there'll be a help if we keep them, but we don't have to really worry about them if we don't. And it's showing. Spencer Dinwiddie went to Washington, didn't do nothing. Now he's in Dallas.
He's playing good for Dallas, though. He is playing good.
He's doing all right, but like, Dallas is not no threat. Like, we don't have to.
They are.
Dallas is a contender, bro.
They're a contender.
I got them as competing in the Western Conference. Honestly,
they're a great defensive team. If anything, they're like top 5 right now net defensive rating. Like, they're big man, one of the biggest best big man rotation. Like, Cleveland.
I really like Dallas's team. Like, I honestly, I talked about this with Nico. Y'all could call me a hater. I got them beating the Warriors in a 7-game series.
I told him
really
they're tough.
I got them beating the Grizzlies too.
I think Draymond makes them a different. Obviously, with him out the lineup is different, but he's gonna play.
He's coming back next week.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, they
gonna
said
play.
1 to 2 weeks.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be back for the playoffs for sure. He's gonna be back. He's gonna play. I obviously I think they didn't even rush him. The point of him sitting out for so long was for him not to get rushed. You know what I'm saying? It was him just holding him back, because we know what Draymond's gonna bring you. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy, energy guy, defensive. You know what I'm saying? He's in shape. He played halfway through the season already. You know what I'm saying? He's an athlete. He take care of his body. So we know what you're gonna get from Draymond. So, but for sure, I think Mavs are definitely
I
a
think
team.
I think we're gonna be talking about that series come playoff time, so we can hold on to that one. Like I think they are gonna see each other come playoffs, depending if it's a 3-6 matchup or if they see each other in the second round. I think they are gonna end up seeing each other eventually, because those are two of the top 3 teams in the Western Conference. But
Yeah, for sure.
are you guys ready to jump into the X factors for the Eastern Conference?
Yes, sir, we can.
So we're gonna start straight from the top. Miami Heat, X Factor, Taha, you go first. Come playoff time.
Like who's gonna be the X factor for the rest of the season?
For the playoffs.
For the playoffs.
For the playoffs? I know we just talked about him, but I'm gonna say Oladipo because people forget that man is a closer. Like he was closing games for Indiana, and bringing that into Miami with other closers like Jimmy Butler and Bam, like I think that's a recipe for success. And I think teams should be concerned that play them.
I could agree with that.
Yeah,
So I'll go next. Take. I'll leave the Miami Heat fan to the end. You know what I'm saying? He go his little.
We're probably gonna have the same person.
But I gotta go with Taha. Oladipo.
Oh, okay. I really have the same person.
I was like, me?
No, I have those. I have those two. I have those. It could be either one. Tyler Hero, Oladipo.
Yeah, exactly. I have Hero too.
But I think Hero is gonna be the most important one because why? We seen what happened when he plays good in the playoffs and is that scoring guy. They went to the finals. Reason why? Because he gave them good second unit points. You know what I'm saying? Bench points, and that's the main important thing in the playoffs. You can have a whole squad just adding something to the team, especially off the bench. You have a scorer, the guy who give you 20 and 9 easily. He averages 22. You know what I'm saying? Like he could give you 20 points easily a night, and if that could happen off the bench, then shit. That's a great way, you know what I'm saying? That's a great way to like we've seen already. They went to the finals just because of that reason when Tyler Hero was just going crazy, just coming big for them in clutch moments. So if both of those guys, either one could just be good in the clutch, then Miami Heat should be fine. Those are their X factors. They really have a chance of going to the finals. They could have one of these bench guys just being, you know, saying that one guy that you go with towards the end of the game. So I'll go with those.
Yeah, I went with Tyler just because I think that he has the highest like we know what Jimmy's gonna bring, we know what Bam, we know what Lowry's gonna bring come playoff time. Oladipo is still a question mark, so I agree with you. He is like an X factor, but I think Tyler just has like another level he could still hit with his scoring if he just ups the usage up a little bit. And we've seen the playmaking, especially these last couple of weeks. The 2-man game with him and Bam has just been lethal. We see it in the Nets game, yeah. The Nets game, like Tyler's really. He's really like perfected the Trae Young and Harden are really good at this where you go for the floater but it looks like a lob when you have the big man rolling. That move he's really perfected it over the last couple of weeks. I would definitely say he's an X factor for them. We talked about them enough for this episode. But next, we're gonna go with the Chicago Bulls. I'm gonna go first on this one. X factor, I'm pretty sure I think we're all kind of the same one. I have Vucevic. I think if the three from the top of the break is hitting, if he's at least playing decent defense, this team should be good and should be able to make a run. But I think it all depends on what he brings them because he's been the biggest question mark all season long. He's been the most inconsistent one out of their big three. The defense has just been getting attacked these last couple of weeks. Like I think to me, he's the biggest question mark for that team.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's one of those where it's like he has a good game, then everybody has a good game and everybody wins.
For sure. When he plays good, they usually win.
Yeah. So
yeah, for sure. Because
I agree.
I mean, he's a mental type of guy. I've been watching him recently, watched him a lot this season too. And like he really gets attacked. He's the weakest link on their team. He gets attacked. I watched the Hawks game. The whole fucking entire game he got attacked. Trae Young, you know what I'm saying? Those are guys. He's definitely the X factor for the Bulls. He's definitely has to be the X factor because I think if you're saying that he's not having a good game, they don't win. And when he plays good, he's you know saying his shots going down. He has that confidence. He's mentally there. He just got to be there defensively. I think he got to take more of a bigger leadership. I think because you know what I'm saying if he's there playing good, he's talking, or you know what I'm saying, or try to hide him a little bit more. You know what I'm saying. I would assume could be another guy that could help him. You know what I'm saying? He could help him defensively there. But we also got to think about Lonzo and hasn't been on the lineup. Caruso, those are two good defensive guys too, that for the guard position. So if Vuk if could have good games, his shots knocking down, then they should be fine. Defensively, he just got to be better. Contest, because everything's he's their weakest link.
For
I
sure.
think Caruso's gonna help with that though when he comes back.
Him and
Yeah,
Lonzo,
Lonzo.
because they both fight.
Yeah.
They're both all three of them. And Ayo Sumo, they all just play the screens so well, fighting over screens. And that's the biggest problem when you have a big man like Vooch, is he plays a drop, so he's far back and he's not fast enough to contest it when a guy is cut into the basket. So like that's his biggest problem is like he's playing so far below the screen, and then when the guy comes off the screen and he's rolling to the basket, he's too slow to play the driver or to play the lob man. So it's just like he needs to just step up defensively. That's really the whole problem.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for
But
sure.
we can move on to the Philadelphia 76ers. I want to go first again, but I'm going to say Tobias Harris. I'm pretty sure y'all going to have the same one too, because we've seen it since James Harden's got there. We know what Maxi's going to bring you. We know what Embiid's going to give you. We know what Harden's going to give you. But if Tobias Harris could come in and be that fourth guy, give you 18, give you 20 on some nights even give you 30, like that's going to be huge for their offense.
Yeah,
And defensively,
I think
he has to be their
he's
best wing defender, I think, along with
yeah
Matisse
he's good enough to be able to do that.
Yeah,
Like we saw it when they had Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons and Embiid on the team, and he was there. He was giving them quality minutes, and he was giving them like a good 17 a night. And on a lot of nights, like when they needed it, he would give 20 on will. So like I don't think it's a matter of like can he do it? It's a matter of
like will he do it, right?
will he do it? Yeah,
Exactly.
because Harden's gonna be setting up Embiid more than anyone else. Like I don't think that's ever a question. But the thing is now Maxey has been playing better with Harden, whereas the expectation was Maxey was gonna take a step down and Tobias Harris was gonna take a step into the third, and Harden was gonna be the second option. But since Maxey's playing so well, he's kind of taken that third spot from Tobias, and now Tobias is sitting at that fourth option again. So he's definitely able to. But the question is, how will it fit now that it's Harden and Maxey, both guys that are shot takers, rather than guys like Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons, guys who don't need to be taking shots.
Yeah, he's just gonna have the ball way less than when he's still gonna get his touches, but he's not gonna get as much pick and rolls ran for him. He's not gonna be able to dribble as much as he was before. He's more of an off-ball player now, but he's still a great catch and shoot player. Like I still think he can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree too. Tobias Harris is our X factor for sure.
I feel like that's the easy choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the easiest.
It's either him or Maxey if you were really thinking about it.
I say him and Yang. I say him and George Yang. Reason
Nico's
why
favorite player.
he's been so good for us. So good for us. I told ya right before
I think
he got signed up. Yeah, like what? He wasn't even playing for. He wasn't even starting for the Nets. This and that for the Jazz.
For the Jazz, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't good. This and that, but he just showed so much improvement. But I would mainly go and push for the Tobias Harris X factor. Reason why, because we seen what Max. I knew was gonna happen with Maxi. I knew his role was gonna change. He's gonna be a more of a scorer. I knew that Tobias Harris will have to take that step down, and he's been. Look, he's not. He's a guy that could get us a bucket for sure. He hasn't been a guy we have went to with James Harden in the lineup and stuff. But his first game, he had a good game. He's still. I think he's a great defender, not the best, but he could hold his own in the playoffs thing. He could switch. He's a big guy. He's bulky. If he could switch on to a power forward, it's not a problem for him. I think he just gotta be there defensively, rebounding. I think we just need 15 points for him, 10 points at least a night, and we should be
Please
good.
hit your open threes. That's really all they
And
need from him.
and look, I mean, he hasn't been the main guy, but his plus minus have been one of the best. I'm saying he's a guy that does a lot more than he does the small details things. You know what I'm saying? He's a great guy to play in a pick and roll. Reason why, because you could roll off of him. He could roll, be a pick and pop. He's been more of a catch and shoot, at least this season. And now with James Harden, he's gonna have to play that role. He's not the best shooter either, but he's definitely gonna be our X factor. And like Philly, you know what I'm saying? We've been playing really good this year. We have way more shooters, so we have more shooters around. So that's why you know what I'm saying? It's not a problem. He doesn't get a shot. I don't think he's the type of guy to even get frustrated if he doesn't get the ball.
For
He's
sure.
a winner.
He's a team. He's a
So
leader on that team. The vocal leader on that team.
yeah, so he's a winner. So I think that's not a problem for him. So I think with James Harden and having Maxi and having him step down is actually the best thing that could happen, because Maxi's just more explosive. He's not as big. You know what I'm saying? He's more explosive. He has more chance of him just uh taking chance. You know what I'm saying? Defense like Embiid and James Harden. Those are two guys you cannot leave wide open. You're seeing why Maxi is playing good and he's taking advantage. And I mean, he's becoming more of a better scorer too. James Harden's there.
I don't.
He's that step back. I mean, bro, he's taking that shit a lot more now than since James Harden's been there. His threes knocking down. He's been averaging 25 since James Harden's been there. So definitely him. He just needs to be there to play defense and rebound.
I don't think you guys are like talking about James Harden that much. Like when it comes to X factors, because you have to keep in mind James Harden's he is a like notorious playoff choker. So I think that's also something that comes in mind. That's something that you got to think about, because like he did it in Houston, he kind of did it in Brooklyn. So you kind of have to keep that in mind.
Nah, hey, what was my biggest thing was I always said this even before James Harden even hit Philly. His playoff numbers are bad, but if you look at the roster that he's playing a whole different role. This like in Brooklyn, it wasn't his team. You had three scores.
Still not his
KD.
team though, if you think about it. This Joel Embiid's team.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
it's Embiid's team.
I would say I honestly, when he's been taking over on defense leadership, like if you watch him play, I've been watching him closely on defense, and he's always just talking, he's letting people know where to go in positions. Like he's been so good. He took in that leadership, and I don't know. I wouldn't be worried about it just because we have Embiid and so many scores around, and if he's not scoring, he's playmaking, and because they still got to worry about him shooting, and his numbers been up. He's been more aggressive. He looks like he wants to be there leadership wise. Obviously, the playoffs is gonna, you know, what I'm saying he hasn't been the best guy, but I don't think he should be an X factor and be like, okay, James Harden's
I
gonna
wouldn't
come
call
back
him the X
in.
factor because you don't know what he's gonna
Because
say.
he could still even though if his shots not going down, he's still a great guy to ISO. You know what I'm saying? He's a playmaker. He could get other guys open, and we've been shooting the ball very well. We have a lot of shooters on the court. Korkmaz, and B's been shooting the ball ridiculous. Maxi, Tobias Harris is not the best shooter, but still you don't want to leave him open. You know what I'm saying? He gets on fire. We just George Niang, we have a bunch of shooters. It's just a different lineup for him too, if you really look at it. And I think this is probably his best team he has had. I'm not just like you know saying Brooklyn obviously had the big three, they barely played together. But honestly you can't even deny that this is probably the best team and best fit he has been in, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't know about fit.
Nah, I
Like
think it is.
it's
Because you look at it,
arguable.
his other
Because he's had some
teams.
teams in Houston
Nah,
where
but
like
I don't think so because the fit with him and Chris Paul wasn't the smoothest. Like these are two guys that are like 1As, like the main initiators on teams. So I think this is the best fit for him.
I'm talking about that one year where it was just him and like Ryan Anderson, Eric Gordon, like they surrounded him with a bunch of
Come
But that's no
on.
talent though, Todd. This is a way better team. This is the best team he's been on.
True.
This is the best team he's been on.
And it's like a different role. If it's a whole different world. He had like don't get me wrong, the talent around Brooklyn with KD does not match up to none of these teams that he's been in. But you gotta look at the role he was in. In Brooklyn, if he wasn't the guy. You know what I'm saying? He's obviously you have Kyrie on the court. You know what I'm saying? He needs the ball in his hand. You know what I'm saying? But every time he comes up with Philly, it's him. It's mainly him with the ball. It's him. He could score. If he's not, he's gonna go with the pick and roll. It's just a different It's a different role for him in Philly, so it just helps him a lot more. That's why I think it wouldn't be a factor because we have around a lot more shooters, and it's a better lineup than it's a better roster than what he had in Brooklyn at least this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That is a that's not. I wouldn't say it's an X factor, but it's something. It is something to watch out for, Taha, because
Yeah.
him and Joel Embiid, both of their stats have gone down come playoff time from the regular season to the playoffs. Like that's like a something that is a fact. Like we've seen it with both of them. Their stats have dropped down, but like you said, that two talents like that they can make it work. We have to just see come playoff time. But if anything, they're gonna be together next year. So if they don't get it this year, they still gonna have a chance moving forward. This is really just like a test run because I think they're still gonna make more moves moving forward with this team. Because I think they need to add a backup center because I don't think DeAndre Jordan is the answer.
He did. I know he's not the answer, but
Yeah, he's not the answer. Yeah, because he's been a corpse these last 2-3 seasons.
Yeah,
and then defensively, on their wing, they're gonna need like another guy, just one more guy, like a Trevor Ariza type of player, to just add to that second unit, or maybe even starting wise. But they definitely have a great chance moving forward, though.
Yeah, and if we don't win the championship this season, like I was telling Miguel, Tobias is gonna get traded. I mean, we don't need him. We technically don't need him.
You see how fast they turn on you, Taha?
It's not.
Yeah, shit crazy, right?
They got a new toy and they throw the other one out.
He was their second option like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, they was calling him an all-star this season.
He is playing at all-star level, but you got too many. You got
Tobias Harris, he's not.
He's averaging almost a 40, 50, 90. If he's doing that, he's you know what I'm saying? He's doing what Chris Middleton does, bro. Probably not the.
But I'm about to say, but him and Chris Middleton's way better than him.
If he's so efficient, then why get rid of him?
But because we have so many main guys, and then Maxi's gonna be so good, he's on a lower contract. Just trade him.
Now it makes sense to trade him for depth. That it just makes sense. Like to trade him and get more bench pieces and
we're
more.
We're not trading him because
players.
He's playing bad or anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's good, but you're gonna add. If you could add more depth, I'm not saying he's playing bad. Like, obviously even though he hasn't been getting the ball as much, his plus and minus is still good. Like, he does a lot on the court, small detail. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? We really don't need him. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you could add more depth, but like I mean, it's our first. We're playing halfway through the season with this new roster. It's not like we're on a rush to win the championship.
They've only played 4 games together, and he didn't even play in the last game. So, but we could move on to the Milwaukee Bucks.
So it was a close game. We wasn't getting shit on then.
You guys were down the whole game.
3 minutes though, we were still putting up a fight without James Harden.
They ain't scored the rest of this. You see, for the rest of the game, they didn't score another bucket.
That's crazy.
That was a close game.
3 minutes.
I think they scored the last 7 minutes. I think they scored 2 points.
Wow. But anyways,
but this game didn't hold much weight. That's why I wasn't flaming you, Nico. It was a back-to-back. We were missing Lowry. They were missing Harden. It is what it is. I just wanted to see my young boy step up. But yeah, we're moving on to the Bucks.
You could go first on this one, Miguel.
Mine's Bobby Portis. I think for me, the biggest question mark is what is he gonna do come playoff time, like defensively, because he's been their biggest like question mark, honestly. Like everybody else, yes, I think defensively he's their worst defender in their starting lineup for a fact. He's been.
But it's not that bad. Where like, I think he's just saying like he's not that of a weakling. He's a physical guy. He adds shooting to your team. He's been a great rebounder. You know what I'm saying? He's unselfish. He's been really good, but
I think he's bad. I just think he's their biggest question mark though. Like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton these last 2-3 weeks have just they flipped the switch. Crunch time comes around. Chris Middleton scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. Drew Holiday hit a game winner the game before that. They both closed out the game against the Bulls. Like they're playing at like a high level at this moment. And you know what Giannis is going to give you as well. It's just, to me, it's just Bobby Portis. Like, what is he doing? What is he going to give to you? He's having a great season. If he keeps it up,
I think it's all the big men, honestly, not just Bobby Portis. Like,
you think the big man room in general.
And I'm not sure what the whole Brook Lopez situation is. I don't know if he's out for the season or what the deal is. But like I think their big man situation is the X factor for me, rather than just Bobby Portis.
I agree. I 100% agree. My like watching them against Phoenix and stuff, like even the first game with a whole healthy Phoenix and a bunch of other games, they're small. I think they're small. I mean, Ibaka's been so great though. Like he's been great. Like you can't even deny that. Like you know what I'm saying. But if they want to win, I think it's their big man, the X factors for sure. Like they're gonna have to be out there rebound. And look at last season. I think mainly they had a big roster last season with Brooke Lopez in the lineup, Bobby Portis. They were really good. You know what I'm saying? They're a big team. They're great defensively. Brooke Lopez was able to make adjustments in the playoffs and take over. So I think I will agree with Taha. The big mans in general, but like all of them, they got to be better and still gonna win in the playoffs.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Because
But
that's their.
Ibaka's been so good though. Like you can't even, like Ibaka was a great pickup.
I don't think he's been that good.
He's been good
He's been
rebounding
all right.
wise. He's been doing what he got to do out there, and I mean, obviously, yesterday Phoenix was putting up a fight. It came down to the wire, but
They definitely had a good
mainly
a good week.
They missed Chris Paul and Devin Booker, right?
Yeah, they didn't have both of them.
Yeah, see that's crazy.
And
That
Cam
the fact that they
Johnson.
barely won,
And
they didn't
Cam
even have Chris Paul and Book.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton had a great game though. Probably his best game of the season.
Yeah, but Shaman, I was watching the game. Everybody was playing good. Phoenix is just
Yo,
a
Miguel.
problem.
Yeah,
Who's Haywood Highsmith?
he's a guy on Miami that they signed to a 10-day. He's gotten like 3 10-day contracts with the Heat this season.
They just signed him to a 3-year deal.
A 3-year deal.
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro. Cuz not good at nothing, bro. He's not good
Is
at
he
anything.
young? Does he have a lot of
Nah,
upside?
they be
Like, what's the
thinking
deal?
they
But
doing
nah,
the same thing. They're doing the same thing what they did with Precious and what's his name?
No, Yurtseven. They
Nah.
did. No, this is
When you
the
guys
same
thought
shit happened with
Precious and with
Yurtseven.
the young guys, when Precious and what's his other name? Do you keep guessing Akpala, whatever?
Oh, KZ Akpala?
KZ
Yeah,
They drafted both of those guys. Highsmith is somebody from the G League that they called up. He was actually on Sixers G League team. He was on their G League team, and they pulled him up because they had guys out with COVID and shit. But God, I don't know, 3-year contract. I don't think he's good at anything. But I can't even question. They pulling these motherfuckers out of thin air. Like Gabe Vincent was in the G League, Omer Yurtseven in the G League, Strus,
and he's on a team option.
Yeah, so it's probably on vet minimum though. It don't matter.
Yeah,
I'll just pull him up. But go ahead. What was talking about? Oh yeah, the
Bucks.
So we pretty much said the big man for the Bucks.
Yeah, me and Todd will go with the big man.
So what was the next team?
Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ty, you can go first.
Ooh. You said I go first?
Yeah.
Honestly, mine would probably just be staying healthy because Jared Allen, he just suffered a thumb injury, and he's out indefinitely now. So it's a big question mark going forward for the Cavs as to what they're gonna do. Mobley's had his injuries here and there this season. They lost Rubio and this dude, Sexton, to season-ending injuries. Like, they're just one of those teams that just hasn't been lucky, but they could still put up a fight with what they got left. I think the X factor would be staying healthy with the players that you already have. It depends on what the situation, how severe the thumb injury is for Jared Allen. But I wouldn't be surprised if I see Woj tweet out that he's out for the rest of the season because thumb injuries can last that long. So yeah, mine would just be staying healthy, really.
Out indefinitely, right?
He's out indefinitely, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big miss too because he's been probably I would say he's been their second best player all season long.
For sure.
And they missed Garland. They really missed him. Like their offense just went into the garbage can.
It's not even just the thumb. I think he's also getting his left quad checked out because he banged someone's knee. Someone's knee banged on his quad. So they were supposed to do tests on his quad today. So that's still going to be seen.
Where I picked Karis LeVert. I think he's got to be, for me, he's their biggest X factor because we know we get from their two big men. Darius Garland has been consistent all season long, having great games back to back to back. But Karis LeVert is the biggest question mark because he's so new to the system, and he's somewhat proven as a player already that he could go out there and drop 30, 40 points on any given night. And he's a decent defender. But if you could just give them that spark when Garland is off the floor, like that's really what they need. When Garland comes off the floor, their offense turns into shit. So if he could just give them that spark, run the pick and rolls with the big man, like just give them some juice offensively, they could make it to the second round maybe.
No, yeah, for sure. I gotta agree with you. Karis LeVert is my X factor too. You hit every point. You know what I'm saying, on why he gotta show up, because it's a new system. We know what you're gonna get from Garland. He's great at scoring. He's a great 3 pointer, and not even that, he's unselfish. A great playmaker. He's been everything his offense run through them. Jared Allen's been so good. Like, he's defensively, the two guys, what they've been doing down there. You see, there's something you don't see in the league with two centers. You know what I'm saying, playing down lows and having everybody else play defense. Like, they've been so good. So I know what you're gonna get. I think Karis LeVert's the main one, just because, like you said, what are you gonna get off when Darius Garland is off the court? Can you make those important points and give him rest and stuff like that? And
Where
I
like,
think
is Rondo good enough to be able to at least get you by?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
I think Rondo's been good though. Like, for the Ricky Rubio, what they did, that trade was so good, because like, Rondo's over there. He's not out there just like, he's out there giving them leadership. He's a great leader. You know what I'm saying? We've seen him in all these championship teams. He's a vet.
Mhm.
Like, he gives them confidence. You know what I'm saying? He's out there making plays. Obviously, he's not the great scoring guy, but he's been so good. Obviously, he's not doing what Ricky Rubio was doing, 18, 16 points, but he's still gonna add that leadership, and he's a great playmaker. He knows what to run. He knows how to get his guys on point, where on fire, you know what I'm saying, where to set them up. So that's what you're gonna get from him. So I think Karis LeVert is just the main guy though. You know what I'm saying? Those minutes off Garland's are the most important minutes for the Cats, because you don't want teams going on runs and your offense barely scoring and stuff. So
yeah, for
I think
sure.
Karis LeVert, and he's been hurt. He played 1 or 2 games and he got hurt. Like, I haven't seen him on the lineup. I don't know how big the injury is. So he's just gonna have to be big in the playoffs for sure.
Moving on next, we're going to probably the hottest team in the NBA, the Boston Celtics.
Sheesh.
I'm scared of them coming to the playoffs. I'm not gonna lie to you. This team is playing they're peaking at the moment, and if I'm gonna go for X factor, I'm going with their head coach Ume Udoka. He's unproven. We haven't seen. He's having a great season though. He's definitely turned it around from the beginning of the season, calling his players out to now. They really changed a big part of what they do offensively. Defensively, they've been good all season long, but offensively, they just changed most of their game plan, having the ball in Marcus Smart's hands more, having him become a playmaker, having Jason Tatum be more of a screener as a big man. Like, they just switched the whole system around. It all depends on what adjustments he can make, because they have the roster to make a run. I think we said it before the season started. I was really high on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely do. I think I don't know if it's really coaching, because I like Brad Stevens as a coach. Like, I don't think it's really like more so like coaching. I think it comes down to like the players, if they could step up. I think Marcus Smart and Al Horford are the two guys that are like the ones to look at, because ever since Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been there, they've been surrounded by guys that are like usually the third or the first or second or third options up next to them. But this season it's Marcus Smart and Al Horford. If you look at it before, in one season it was Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, and then in another season their third and fourth options were like, yeah, we saw it earlier this season with Dennis Schroeder. And then if you look at the season before, it was Kemba Walker that was out there with them. And now I think the difference is you're actually like letting the players that are already there do their thing rather than trying to bring in star power. So I think since this is Al Horford, or not more so Marcus Smart than Al Horford, but this is their first time as like the third and fourth options. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they like reflect that in the playoffs.
I think Derek White is a name to watch out for as well.
Yeah,
that
Derek White too.
my
Yeah.
X factors, I'll say because you guys said it. Derek White and I think Marcus Smart are the two X factors. Reason why, because you're a great defensive team. That's what you're gonna get. But the thing is, it's gonna come down to half court possessions in the playoffs, and can those two guys get their team playmate? Can they playmate for their team when it's tougher? When you're gonna have guys running, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be tougher in the playoffs. It's gonna be better defensive. Everybody's gonna be more aware of certain stuff. You know what I'm saying? And different type of lineups. Yesterday we seen it. You know what I'm saying? He was having a decent game. He had a couple turnovers. You know what I'm saying? Marcus Smart, but like, I think if they could get their offense flowing, which is the main thing, because you know what I'm saying. What was their problem before? Dennis Schroeder was in the lineup, right? They do? They cut his minutes down. Marcus Smart started playing good. The trade comes around. They pick up Derek White, who's been so good playmaking wise, defensively. Those are two great defensive guys too. You know what I'm saying, they're really good. So I think playmaking wise is going to be the main thing for them if they could get their offense flowing because they're a very great shooting team. They got Grant Williams been shooting lights out, like lights out. You got, I mean, Pritchard. JT's been shooting the ball out lights out. Jalen Brown, our Horford's he's been really good for them too. So I think it's just their guards if they could get their offense flowing because they're Marcus Smart is not a true guard. Obviously, we don't know yet. I mean, I have always said he's been a great playmaker, but you know what I'm saying, he's not a guy that's gonna out there give you 9 to 7 assists every night. But he could be that guy in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Now he has a different role. You've seen it. You've seen it the last 20 games. You know what I'm saying? He has a different role now with Dennis Schroeder out the lineup. So they just, you know what I'm saying? They just got to be, if they could get the offense flowing, I think they shouldn't struggle because they look dangerous on defense. What they could do, Robert Williams, he's a great shot blocker. He could play on his feet, defend on his feet. You know what I'm saying? He could step up, and then their system is good with the way they switch. Like yesterday was a great example of how they were switching off so many guards in the lineup, and they were still able to hold Brooklyn and pretty much be in control of the whole game.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. I think that was a good one. Marcus Smart. Just their point guard room in general, because you look at the rest of the contenders in the East, they all got point guards that could dictate the pace and calm the game down.
Yeah,
Like if you look at Miami with Kyle Lowry, with Philly with James Harden, even Kyrie Irving for the Nets, like Fred VanVleet on the Raptors, Darius Garland, all these point guards could slow the game down and dictate the pace, and that's really what it's all about with them. Because sometimes they get caught playing too fast, and the game gets in a muck. That's their problems. They don't really have a true point guard. But Marcus Smart has been that these last couple of weeks.
yeah. Because he's been in a different role, but we'll see in the playoffs when it comes down to
Yeah.
like tight, you know, saying tighter. It's going to be way more tighter defensive. It's going to be tighter defenses. Different type of teams are going to run different defensive matchups, strategies and stuff like that. So I think main importantly, we know what everybody's going to get defensively. It's going to be there. I think it's just more can they score, get their offense flowing.
We can move on to the next team, the Toronto Raptors. I'm gonna say mine. I'm gonna go first. Mine is Gary Trent Jr. I think for me, he's their X factor. He's the best shooter on his roster. He's probably probably their second best scorer on the team that could go and get you in three different ways, in and out. Like he could put the ball on the floor, finish with both hands. He could pull for a mid range shot. A great catch and shoot 3-point shooter, and he's been to the playoffs already before. So this team is filled with guys who's been there, done that. And I think they got a chance to upset somebody in the first round, for sure. But VanVleet needs to be healthy though, because we've seen it. They miss one guy and their whole rotation gets put in a flux. Like this, we've seen it. We seen it last night as well. I think they went 9 minutes without scoring against the Cavaliers yesterday.
Damn.
They need, I think it's 7 or 9 minutes. They got good shots, but they don't just have enough shooters. So they have a solid 7-man, 7